Hello and welcome to the brand new episode of AV Tiles and Sanitary Kollam, the authorized dealer of Kajaria tiles in the city of Kollam in Kerala. Today we are with Tala MS Dhoni, but we are not going to discuss tile adhesives here today. We have already done that in a previous episode. We are going to discuss elevation tiles today. So, if you have decided to put elevation tiles in your new house, we are going to discuss whether you should go for ceramic and vitrified tiles or should you go for natural tiles. Kerala is a small state situated on the southern tip of India, well known for its cashew production, backwaters and scenic hill stations. But that's not all. Kerala is also well known for the houses that its people build. It's not only the millionaires and the billionaires houses that we are talking about. These are the houses of a common man. The amount of money and time they spend on building their houses is mind-boggling. I have traveled across India and I can verify this fact that the average house of Kerala is far ahead than the average houses of rest of the India. An inseparable part of these houses that distinguishes my house from my neighbor's house is the elevation tile. See, the elevation of the house is a weakness of Malayalis, if you want to see it that way. And so, the biggest differentiating factor which comes in is the use of elevation tiles. So today we are going to discuss two kinds of elevation solutions that we have in our shop and which one should you buy and why. So let's begin with ceramic and vitrified tiles. What you see on my left, these are ceramic and vitrified tiles offering from different companies including Kajaria. Now, these are cheaper options and there is thousands of varieties which you can choose from in ceramic and vitrified tiles. And these are not bad. These are economical and you have got all kind of qualities and you also get ceramic body and vitrified bodies in it. So why should you go for a ceramic body? Why should you go for a vitrified body? We have discussed this in another video, so we are not going to delve into that today. But yes, you can see on this small board itself, you have all kind of things that you can imagine. This is a red stone from the north of Kerala and the original stone can also be used to build houses instead of bricks. Now if you come down, you have this Dholpur brown from Rajasthan and you have this brick pattern which reminds us of England or Europe mostly, because that's where we first started seeing it. If you come here, you have a black stone which is found in couple of places in India, same here. And if you come here, you have a black star galaxy which is, I think, a produce of mica rich areas of Rajasthan. So you have thousands and thousands of varieties that you can choose from. But then do they lack something? In my opinion, yes, they do. The thing is that whatever the material is and whatever the print is, the thing is that there is a glaze on top of it, and these colors and these patterns are printed on top of a glaze. Now this problem with this glaze is that when the sunlight falls on it, all these tiles, irrespective of whether they portray England or whether they portray Rajasthan or whether they portray Kannur, the light plays with them in the same manner. And that's where the problem starts. And that's why premium buildings or premium constructions stay away from these tiles, because they tend to lend the building a plastic look. But you can go for very expensive tiles which also have these pseudo shadow lines. Now these three columns that you see, these are from Kajaria, and if you watch closely, if this is a piece of brick, you have a shadow line or shadow print beneath that. And in all quality tiles you will see that shadow line. If you check out this particular tile, you can see there's a shadow line just beneath the protrusion. So when the sunlight strikes, it creates an artificial 3D effect of a shadow which is not there. So it lends this tile more depth than it actually has. And if you come towards the cheaper tiles, let's say this is 30-40% cheaper, it's an unbranded tile, there is no shadow line beneath the tile. So that is the main difference when you go from a branded tile to unbranded tile. In branded tile you have the shadow lines which lends it more depth, and in the unbranded tile you wouldn't find that. But the unbranded tile, as I said, they look very plain and plastic, but then there are some places or there are some households which can afford only that much. So the variety which is on display here and the kind of volume that sells here It's way ahead than the rest of India. And if your budget allows only this, you should definitely go for this. But you should always try to go for the branded ones only because of the shadow lines that they provide in their tiles. It lends them an extra depth. So always keep in mind when you're buying tiles for your elevation that no matter what color, what print and what punch that you are selecting, the light will play with it in an equal manner. So every part of that wall will play with the light in an equal fashion. So no point will take in more light or no part will reflect more light. There will not be any deviation in it. So it will always kind of be a slightly plasticky look, which you should expect. And now let's check out the second option, which we recommend very highly. Now these tiles that you see on my right, these are natural stone wall claddings picked from across India, right in that stone belt from Rajasthan to Andhra Pradesh. Now if you look at them and if you have seen them in front of the houses, you know I don't have to tell you that how they transform any building when they are put on the elevations or even the interiors. The kind of earthy feel, the kind of attraction it lends to the building is unparalleled, and no amount of tiles can ever replace the look of the natural stone. Now the most important thing about these natural stones is that they are natural, they are porous and they play with the light. Now when you are putting something on the elevation, it's very important that you should know that it is going to play with light. And that's one thing that people generally tend to forget, that interaction with the light is what makes it so interesting. Now in natural stone, the interaction of light, why it becomes so important is because the sun is always moving. So every 1 hour the position of light is different. So which means if your elevation tile is playing with the light, then every hour your elevation is having a different look. Although it is so subtle that you may not remember, but in the subconscious mind it gets registered. And that is why over a period of time, if you see the houses or any building that has natural stone cladding, that keeps getting etched in our mind over a period of time. And after many years, whether that building is still there or not, it always lends a nostalgic feel about that building. And we never realized that maybe the natural stone cladding that was used was a part of it. Just think about that if you remember any building with such stones. Now let's get introduced to some of the popular stones that we have in India. What you see here is a red quartzite. Red quartzite is from the area of Jaipur in Rajasthan. Now these are sandstone, a yellow sandstone which is from the deserts of Jaisalmer and Jodhpur where this is found. And what you see below is a Dholpur autumn plain, which is also a product of Rajasthan. It's a slate stone, which means it comes out in flakes. And what you see here is Star Galaxy. It's named Star Galaxy, has nothing to do with stars or galaxies. It has a small tiny shining particles in it, which you see are mica deposits in this stone. So basically this is a mica ore which is cut to this size and it looks extremely beautiful. Again, these are flaky materials, which means you can, as you see, if I am just flicking out, here you go. See, I have taken a piece and my hands are all shining with glitter. So this is the flake. Because this is flaky, this gets this undulated pattern and which forms natural shadows when light falls on it. And the look of this tile, this is our best selling piece here on this board, and the look of this is amazing. You have to see to believe it. Now coming back here, it is actually a small pixel model and it is done in marble found in Rajasthan. And this marble we have used for a long time in flooring solutions, especially in Kerala in the late 90s and early 2000s. And what you see below is this is a stone from Bangalore. It's called Sadarhalli White and it's also known as Bangalore stone, and nowadays it is also used for landscaping. What you see here is again from the deserts of Rajasthan, the sandstone. It is very porous and this yellow color is really earthy and lends some building. And if you remember, if I tell you, the Lulu Mall entrance in Cochin, it has this tile applied on it. And these are again same as red quartzite. It's from Rajasthan and it's again a flaky material and a beautiful earthy green color. Now what you see below it is a black tile. It's from the Andhra Pradesh region and it's also called Kadapa. It's been used in kitchen, restaurant kitchens for decades now. And households have also used it where there's a lot of light in the veranda and you want to cut some light, you apply this tile. Now what you see here is perhaps the most exotic tile in all this, and it comes from Haryana. It's called Kumbal Lava, and it has this very desaturated burgundy look. It's a very smooth stone, but very minute undulations on it, and the look that this tile lends to the building is amazing. And again, if you see here in this particular piece, they have used three kind of sizes. It's a 4-inch, it has a 3-inch, it has a 1-inch. So they have used all three sizes, which lends it an additional layer of intrigue when compared to something like this where all the pieces are of the same size. So it's not only the stones that creates this magic, but also the sizes that you have used to create this one palette. So that is also something that you should know when you are buying these tiles. And also, as the handwork increases, the price also increases. So this may not be so costly, but this handwork adds to a cost almost 100% of its original cost. But the spend is worth it. Now if you go down, it's a stone from Andhra Pradesh, Kadapa region, and this is from Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, and this particular tile is very interesting. You should know every Pizza Hut outlet at one point of time, I'm not seeing them lately, but in every Pizza Hut, the cladding of the Pizza Hut outside is by this stone. It comes from Rajasthan, and this again amazing tile from this plain, a very shiny stone, or you say satin finish stone from Andhra Pradesh. I don't have words to explain this. You have to see it to believe it. And my humble request is that always try and find budget to inculcate stones instead of tiles in your house. And the one that you see on top are very expensive, and their expense, as I told you, is not only because of the stone but also because of the handwork which is involved in it. As you come to the second line, the price go down because then we are using single pieces and big pieces, so the price comes down. The price goes further down on the bottom line because these are basically cheaper stones, and then absolutely no handwork, all machine work. So it is a very interesting fact. Say this particular tile that you see here is a Kadapa black, cost less than unbranded vitrified tile. Can you imagine that? I mean, it's a general notion that stone tiles are very expensive, but actually that's counterintuitive. In the stone tiles, the range starts where the tiles range ends. So which means if you can just peg a little more from the budget of your tiles, you can always come to stones, and I think you should come to this. Now the third part, which involves both these, are how to apply them. Let's do a quick review on that as well. Now the third part of this video is very important. You have now bought tiles or you have bought stone, but how are you going to apply them? And that's where Thala Dhoni has something to say, a little bit. Just listen to that. Now, whether you have selected the tiles or the stones, the thing that you have to remember is that most probably they are going to take in a lot of sunlight, lot of heat. They're going to take a lot of rain, they are going to take a lot of wind, or sometimes all these three together. So then what you apply with it onto the wall is equally important, and that's why you should do a quick checkup on all the varieties of tile adhesives that are available. We have done specific videos for that. You can go to our playlist and find one of them, and you have to select the third degree tiles, or which means not the base, not the tile on tile, but high flex adhesives. Now high flex adhesives has hint hidden in that name itself, which means it's high flexible adhesives, which means if the temperature varies and the tile needs to expand, these adhesives will allow that expansion to happen and still hold on to the tile. Now high flex adhesives start from 35 rupees and upwards, but our recommendation is never go below 45 rupees for tiles if you are selecting, and never go below 50 to 60 rupees of tile adhesives, and that is, I am saying in kilogram, rupees per kilogram. That is 50 to 60 rupees per kilogram varieties when you are using these stones. Now why you should use high flex adhesives so expensive when you are using stones is because unlike tiles, the stones do not have a flat background. So if you have a flat back on the tile, you can go for a 10 rupees less adhesive. But unfortunately, as you see the front of these tiles are, so are its back. So when you're using stone, it's very important to compensate for that variable depth on the back of the tile, and so you have to give it a better adhesion. Also, not all tiles are so equally porous, and hence they would take in less amount of grout when the grout is applied on the back. Grout in this case is tile adhesive. Now apart from that, there's one more factor that you should understand, and that is that most of the tiles, when their handwork is done, they also carry a mesh behind it. Now this mesh is made of plastic most of the time. Now you know plastic doesn't stick to anything, and hence whatever space is left has to be adhered to the walls so tightly that it never falls off. So you can never compromise on a high flex adhesives when you are using the stones. So I hope you have gained plenty of insight into what kind of tiles you should use for elevation in your dream home. And you should always know that you got this information from AV Tiles and Sanitary, Kollam. So signing off for this episode with Tala Dhoni. His last IPL is going on as we speak. Don't forget to watch Tala Dhoni's matches because he might not be playing the next IPL. Love you and love you all.